In the previous lesson, we posted a first acquisition for one of our fixed asset master records. And now we just want to explore what has changed for that particular asset. And interestingly enough, we have a dedicated app. This is actually the most complete app just for um, checking everything that has happened with one asset. That is also important, but I'm just making emphasis that's just one, because sometimes we want to check the values for multiple assets, and this is not the app for that. The app that we will show right now is just for one asset, but it's the most complete app. So here we have it in the general reporting group of apps, and it's called the asset values. So let's start the app. And of course, let's wait for it to finish loading, because we need to enter the ID of the company code and the flatbed truck. Okay, with this we can just press enter in our keyboard, and it will fetch the data from the database. But what's interesting, of course, is that we have just one screen with so much data. Actually, some things are just separated in different tabs here in the middle section, because again, this is the central app. We can use it for pretty much anything that we need to check for an individual asset. And well, right now, the first thing is just about the middle section, in which we have the total for the APC transaction, which is 50,000, the acquisition value, and we also have the ordinary depreciation, which is 8,333 euros with 33 cents. This is just in the plan values for the IFRS. Actually, here on the top left, we have some other things that we will discuss in a minute. But yes, all these values are for actually for depreciation area 32 for IFRS in local currency. And also important just to note that at the bottom we have the transactions. We only have one, of course, because we just posted the asset using the first day of this year as the posting date, and it's the transaction type 100, which is, as we have been saying, it's the external asset acquisition. So we have again, interestingly enough, already the values here for the ordinary depreciation for this year. Now you might be wondering, okay, but where is the system getting the data to calculate this? For example, where how is this calculation happening? Well, actually, we have the parameters section for this. We can just click there, and as you can see, we have everything that is relevant as parameters, and especially for the depreciation calculation and later the posting. So of course we have the depreciation key, which is the main key object that connects to the customizing of the system, and specifies that, for example, will be just a straight line depreciation from the full amount, the acquisition value, to the book value, the zero book value. So at the end of the useful life. Actually, as you can see, the useful life is 6 years. The expired useful life right now it's 0, because we haven't. We are in the same year as the year in which we posted the acquisition. Here, for example, at the top we have the year. If we were maybe in 2022, we could just change that, and the expired useful life would be one year. But we also have in this scenario the same remaining life as the full useful life, which is 6 years. And really important, of course, we have the start date of the depreciation, which again is the first day of this year. Let's actually have a look at the posted values, because as you can see at the bottom, this is what's really different right now, is that we have the planned depreciation for each month. So as you can see, it's around 694, with actually with 44 cents for some months and 45 for other months. Why is that important? Because at the end we have to get to this amount for the full year, which is 8,333, as we were saying here in the plan values. So yes, that means that some months, some of these months of the year, we have 694 with 45 cents, and some others with 44 cents. So well, all of this is of course important, really interesting, but we still need to discuss some other sections of this asset explorer screen. So let's start with the left hand side at the top. We have all these uh, all these depreciation areas, sorry. And right now the 32 depreciation area is the one that is selected. But for example, let's see what happens if we click on depreciation area 15. Well, as you can see, I hope you agree with me. The change is it pops to our attention right away because well, we have the same acquisition value. That's something similar for both depreciation areas, but immediately we see a different value for the ordinary depreciation. So well, it calls our attention immediately, and to understand why this is different, well, first of all, because as we know, the point of having the different depreciation areas is to have the values for the same asset, but just set up differently according to different views. Maybe well, for the local tax adjustments, for the IFRS, for the maybe if we also need to carry all of our accounting records using US GAAP, for example. Well, using that different accounting principle, we will have another depreciation area. Just the book depreciation area, the main book depreciation area. We also have a depreciation area for that, for the book values. So that's the point. We have so many, and in some of them we can have different parameters, especially if they belong to a different generally accepted accounting principle, like the US GAAP or a local GAAP. So, well, to really understand also what's happening here, why we have a different amount, we can just switch to parameters again, and the depreciation key is also straight line. That is not different, but immediately you should realize that the useful life is different. It's 5 years. The expired useful life is also 0 because we are in the same year of the acquisition. But again, what's different and what's really important here is that the useful life is 5 years. So of course, the acquisition value is 50,000. Remember, well, we enter 55,000, but we have a tax, a 10% tax. So the tax is not considered as part of the acquisition value. And as you can see, we have 50,000. But if we divide that with the straight line, 50,000 divided by 5, of course, we get 10,000. So we get the value here for the depreciation, the planned depreciation for this depreciation area for 10,000. I mean, other thing that is really interesting just to see is we can switch to the next fiscal year with this at the top. And as you can see, now we have at the year end like an accumulated ordinary depreciation of 20,000, 10,000 from the first year, 10,000 for this year, so well, 20,000. Actually, we can explore even like further down the road. And of course, we get the correct values here. I mean, at the year end, what will be the accumulated depreciation, for example. But well, actually, let's just go back to this year. And well, just to for us to mention again, if you realize when we switch to future years, this goes away. The transaction is just empty because in 2022 there hasn't been any posting. Maybe in 2022 we have a retirement. Okay, if we post a retirement in that year, we will have the values here. But well, what's important again is if we go back 2021, we have the acquisition. And well, interestingly enough, we also have this section at the bottom left in which we have all the like objects that have a relationship with this asset. So we have an equipment that was created automatically by the system when we created the master record. And well, what's an equipment? Well, you might have heard of, or you might be familiar with the application module PM, Plant Maintenance. And well, as the name is saying, it's an application module that we use to just have all the data relevant for maintenance of our assets. And well, the point here, really important, really interesting, is that we have a relationship here with that master record against what we have in our master record. Also, we have the vendor in this scenario, the T dash AB15, the SETI vendor that we used for the posting of the acquisition. We have the cost center that we linked when we created the master record. We have a GL account that, well, that the ID for that one is coming from the customizing of the system, and the profit center that's also in the master record. So, well, let's see another really great thing of this app, in which we can use this app to jump to another app just to explore things further. For example, here at the top we have this push button, just display master data. We can of course click on that one, and as you can see, it takes us directly to the app, that like the display asset app. So here we don't have as much of the the planned depreciation, for example. It's just the overall details for the master record, like the description, the serial number, the inventory number. In the time dependent section, well, the cost center, the profit center linked to it, and the segment linked to this asset. But we can go back here to general and scroll down, because we want to just to be clear on two things that are great here. One is the feature that this app has to connect to other apps, just to call them, and we don't need to enter we don't even need to enter the ID. Everything flows naturally, and the values are fed into the corresponding fields, and the app just gets executed to show the data. So that is the first thing that is really cool about this app. But the other thing that is really just great is that, as you can see at the bottom, now the values for the asset, for the capitalization date, for the first acquisition date, for even the year and the month, they are now they are no longer empty. Sorry, they now have values. So we didn't manually did this, of course. This is just again what we call the integration of the SAP system, because that just means if something happens, for example, in just an app that is for fixed assets, the acquisition app, for example, and it has to impact a master record, well, the system will immediately just create that change in the asset master record, and we will have the values here correctly set up. So, well, we can just go back, of course. This was just something just quickly to show. But actually the last thing, which is again really interesting, is that we can just not, it's not exclusive for just that display master data app that we have the connection. We can actually come here at the bottom to the transactions, and we can double click the transaction. And as you can see, well, the app will even take us directly to the document number for financial accounting for this posting. So, well, remember, this was a posting for the depreciation area 15. Even the ledger group is 2L. And, well, we have everything that's needed for just the creation of a correct FI document, because this is done automatically by the system, the creation of this one, when we save the past transaction in the previous lesson. So we have the dates, and of course we have the accounts. So, well, the company code and the currency, but we have the accounts here in the line items. So we have the posting to capitalize and activate this asset. So again, this app, the Asset Explorer, the Asset Values app, is just great. It has so much possibilities, and if we had again, for example, a retirement, even if in this year we could retire, let's say in November, we could retire the asset, or we can transfer the asset. Well, that will be shown here, or even if we switch to the other years, we'll get the transactions here, and we can just jump to the documents. But well, right now, actually, this app is something we will use a lot during these lessons. So for the time being, we can just finish this, so we can just close the app now. And with this, of course, we are finishing. But please keep on learning with all of our trainings, um, in which we will cover even much more interesting topics that have to do with fixed assets. So let's continue.